Hi everyone. I realized that I didn't do a great job on our first meeting on Friday um, as far as orienting you to how the modules are set up. I know I mentioned that it's a little bit different setup than I've done in the past, and I kind of, I don't know, looking back on it, I don't think I did a great job in explaining it to you. So I'm going to do that really briefly in this video. So in the 445 Canvas shell, as you see here, when we click on modules, the modules are set up by each week's materials. So I'm going to bring up the course schedule for reference, okay? So let's just go down and scroll down to say week 3. Okay, so we're going to have week 3 in lecture. We're going to talk about food safety. Here are the course objectives or the weekly objectives for lecture. You're going to recognize the REHS credential and you're going to complete the ServSafe practice exam. This is what you need to do prior to coming to class. If I scroll back up, you'll notice this is the column what you need to do before class. This is what we'll be doing in class each day. Wednesday we'll have a guest lecture from the ASU Health Inspector. Her name is Veronica Oros. And then Friday in class, we're going to take the ServSafe practice exam. After class each day, this is what you'll need to focus on for lecture. So you'll need to use the practice exam that you take on Friday to help you prepare and make sure you know what day you're going to take the exam. And this says what day you need to come to class, but remember, if you're taking it online, obviously you're not coming to class, but you're going to log into Zoom to take the exam. Okay, so you'll notice, so you're going to go here, week 3, this is what we're doing. Now, let me minimize this. And I'm going to scroll down to week 3 module, module 3 lecture. This is also going to talk about what you should be doing in lecture as well as lab. Okay, so if I go back up here, you'll notice in your lab, this is what it's telling you that you need to work on for lab. And it also is giving you your assignments for what you need to do for lab. So you notice there's a cash handling assignment due, and there's also a team contract due. You obviously will complete those on Canvas. So module 3, here's information we're going to cover in class about the REHS. Here's your ServSafe practice exam. And then in lab, here are your PowerPoints to go over your cash handling assignment, the quiz that you need to take, and then the contract. Okay, so I essentially have each module set up to reflect what is going to be listed on your course and lab schedule. Okay, so you'll want to refer to this schedule each week as it corresponds to the modules in Canvas. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit clearer. You are obviously welcome to look ahead. All of these modules are open right now. The quizzes, I have them set for certain time frames for you to have them available, so you won't be able to complete quizzes super early. You will have obviously the week open prior, or the week that it's due, it will open. But all of the content is available to you as we go through each week and or what we consider modules. For the class, the lecture will always be first, and then the lab is always the second information in that module. I tried to label it so it's fairly clear, and hopefully it's clear to you all as well. Okay, so you'll notice that it goes all the way down through 15 weeks of this class. Okay, I do have this set up where we will be basically done with lab. Let me pull this back open again, prior to the Thanksgiving holiday. So I'm going to scroll down through October. Let me get through, and you'll notice your production days are noted. So this is in relationship to, if you have a specific day in mind that you want to produce, you might want to select that group A, B, or C. A is obviously going first, B is second, C is last. Okay, and then you'll notice after the Thanksgiving holiday, we don't have any lab. The actual week of Thanksgiving, we only have one group go, which is Wednesday, Group C. Just because of the Veterans Day holiday, it ended up pushing Wednesday's production days a bit. So if you're in any other lab but Wednesday, you won't actually have lab this week of the 14th. So this is your go-to document to figure out what we're doing in class each week. This should correspond to each of those weeks for each of the modules, okay? I do want to briefly go over really quickly because I realize I also skipped in the syllabus. You open this up, how you get points in this class, and that's kind of important. I don't know what happened. I think my cursor skipped or something when we were doing this in class, but I did want to draw your attention to this area where it's showing you essentially where you are earning all of your points. What I didn't talk about, which is important for you to know, yes, we have a ServSafe exam that's worth 100 points. You all are aware of that. We do have 3 exams in this class, so 2 exams in the final. However, I do drop your lowest score. So that means if you are satisfied with your scores for exams 1 and 2, you then do not have to take the final. So just keep that in mind. And you know, sometimes the first exam you get test anxiety and you don't do as well. Well, you have opportunity to essentially make that up with exams 2 and the final. Okay. Cash handling, you're probably wondering what that is. It is a requirement for any ASU entity that's handling cash, and any employee, which you are kind of considered employees in Kitchen Cafe, that's handling cash, needs to go through the business service cash handling training, which is that module that I showed you earlier. So you'll complete that brief module. It's a couple PowerPoint slides, and then you'll answer some questions in the quiz to make sure you understand the requirements. Okay, we do have a school lunch assignment. I will get to that more later on in the semester, and we actually have a guest lecture about it. You will have a lab quiz as mentioned in the very first lab. And it's an easy 10 points. And then you do have subsequent lab quizzes each week, only worth 5 points, and it's essentially reviewing the content that you've learned in lab in the prior week. So it's just ensuring that you understand the concepts we're reviewing. Lab survey questions, your TAs will get more into this in lab, but it's essentially some questions that you'll develop that we may want to ask our patrons as they come through. And then the capstone project, which I have a whole other video about, but here's where all of those points are coming from. Most of these, or I should say a lot of these, are all or nothing, meaning as long as you submit it, your team will earn the full amount of points, okay? You do earn points for lab participation, so you get 10 points for each time you attend lab, as long as you show up on time and don't leave early. And then production weeks, we actually up the ante and have it worth 20 points each. And that's essentially to ensure that everybody comes and helps out their fellow lab members, and that they're not missing out. You know, their Group A would produce and then just not show up because they didn't have to produce, which impacts the amount of staffing that Groups B and Group C would have to run their lab. So we basically just make it worth your while to show up even after your production day. And then as mentioned, I do offer 20 points of extra credit. Okay, so if you do have any questions about how you earn points in this class, feel free to shoot me an email. And my apologies that I didn't go through this more clearly in our first day of class. So thanks so much.